What if the difference between a brilliant idea and $1 million payday is just one strategic ad campaign? In this episode, we're sitting down with Fernando, a marketing renegade who's turned affiliate links into empires, hacked ad platforms to the edge of legality, and scaled brands with nothing but hustle and a sharp eye for data. From flipping eBay goods to managing $300,000 a day in daily ad budgets, Ian has failed, adapted, and dominated the game. If you got a product or even just an idea, this episode could save you thousands and make you millions. Let's get into it. Welcome, Ian. I just want to say welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing good.
Good. So I want to just kind of start with just kind of really getting to know you a little bit. Um, what what is it that you do? Can you just kind of walk us through what you're doing right now, how you make your money?
Right now, so basically, what I'm doing right now is I sell phone calls, I sell leads, I have digital products online, and I run two softwares for helping with my marketing stuff. So most of my revenue does come from affiliate marketing, which I've been doing for quite some time, roughly about 20 years. More recently, got into selling phone calls the past 2.5 years, and then but most of my stuff has been either in digital e-com or lead gen.
So when you say selling phone calls, what do you mean?
So you ever see those ads, late night ads on TV, like have you tripped and fall? Please call this phone number. We'll get in contact you, the lawyer. So I sell that phone call to either a law firm, auto insurance company, or health insurance company, and then I get paid on the length of the call. So if the user stays on the phone call for 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, I get paid a certain amount. So that'd be my commission.
That's a really interesting. I've never actually heard of that one before. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like a very old school. Back in the day, it'd be like more on a commission based on a close, right? So usually like an auto insurance call center will do the intake and then sell that contract to like a Progressive or a Geico, and then they make their money there, and then they get a cut from the call. I'll show you how it works back in the day. But now affiliates can enter the phone space and sell it on a duration level versus a close.
That's really interesting. How did you get in? How did you get into this? Like, I've got so many questions. I don't know which ones to ask.
Yeah, I mean, phone call specifically, it just everybody was talking about it at a conference, and it kind of makes sense in the back of my head just because I remember doing affiliate marketing, and some auto insurance or like tax insurance would have a phone call on the landing page, and I would ask the advertiser, "Hey, can you remove this phone number so I can optimize for leads, or do I get paid on a phone call?" Right? Because usually when you do any type of marketing, you try to make a single focus for the consumer. Usually, for me, it would just be the leads, and any distraction like a phone number would deter them from or would take away from my commission. But now I can play both roles and put a phone number on my landing page and also capture the lead as well.
Okay, so basically, what I'm hearing is that you just said, "Hey, this is going to reduce from my commission. How can I actually get commissions from both of them then?"
Yeah, correct. Because back in the day, there was really no duration payment for phone calls. It was more of like on a rev share on a closed contract. So, for example, again, if a intake center uh, had all the information for a debt consolidation, they would sell that to a bank or a debt consolidation firm. They get $900 a contract, and that would be their sale per se, right? But for us, as affiliates, we're selling the phone call. If they stay in the phone call for uh, 10 seconds, 90 seconds, 120, 400 seconds, then you get paid based on whatever the advertiser wants to pay, right? But yeah, I mean, it's super interesting. I think it's a brand new space that affiliates don't really know too much about, but because everybody thinks it's like more direct response marketing, which I did come from, which it is direct response marketing because it is a single goal. But now the marketing space is more like a whole full ecosystem where you can do leads and phone calls and data monetization, etc.
So Ian, I want to kind of take this conversation back to when we back to when we met. Do you remember? I'm sure you remember that story as well as I do. We were at this event called a Fuck Up Night, and we were going around. we were going around talking about the biggest mistakes we've ever made and kind of sharing them with the group. It's a really cool event, actually. Um, Ian, do you want to talk about what you went through in that event?
On how we met.
Well, that and just like that story. I don't know if you want to share that story right now or not, but
Yeah, so I guess the way I met you, Brandon, was basically a meetup in Colombia, Medellin. I want to say it was like during COVID, I think, maybe, or after.
during like yeah, right before things started opening up. That's why I think that event did so well is because it was like one of the first like events in Medellin that opened up, and it was run by this English dude that was like pushing entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and then so Fuck Up Night basically is a meetup that instead of just meeting up and talking about successes, you talk about failures. And I've been to one before in Philippines or Vietnam. I forget which one. And there was another one also in Spain that I went to. And this meetup is geared towards like learning from people's failures and then versus successes because everybody's always talking about success stories and not a lot of people talk about failures. And I think failures are much easier to learn from because it is from experience, right? Um, my story for my fuck up was when I had my first Amex card. I actually didn't know that there was a limit on the Amex card. So there's a 100K limit on it on the Amex card, and when we were doing advertising, we had to prepay. We had to pay Amex 200K a day just so we can pay the bill yesterday and make sure we have 100K to spend that day, right? And then we were also spending 100K a day that same day on ads, right? So we were roughly spending 300K a day on advertising on Google, right? So for me, my fuck up was that I did not know that Amex. I thought Amex was just an unlimited card, whatever, paid every 2 weeks, right? But there is a threshold on it of 100K, and you have to at least pay that minimum on there. So once we cleared that 100K, we actually had to prepaid it more to make sure we have an extra 100K to spend just in case while we are spending 100K that day, right? So yeah, that was my kind of fucked up, and definitely didn't even knew Amex had a limit on the card. So yeah.
How how did you get your start into marketing? I remember you telling me that you used to work two other or three other jobs or something. And
Yeah.
what brought you over, and what strategies did you use back then versus it's kind of a loaded question versus the strategies you're using now, and how did you find your way to transition?
I don't think I really found my way, right? I think the story is good because it's not like nowadays everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to be a business owner, wants to be whatever, right? For me back in the day, it was like, hey, I need to get rid of two jobs from my three jobs. So my three jobs were waiter on the weekends, customer service call center agent at night, and then human resource manager for Walmart, right? And those were my three jobs. So my goal at the end of the day was, okay, how do I get rid of two, just so I can have one job that can feed me, roof me, and just do my daily living expenses, right? So I then found out about like Google advertising, and then I was like, I don't have money to spend on ads right now, so I can't do this. Then I did eBay. So eBay was more so arbitraging, and I think that's where I got my arbitrage skills from, where you basically find things around the house, sell it on eBay, and then you make the difference in sales that give you profit, right? As I got higher in the job at Vonage, which was the call center job, I went from call center agent to customer service rep, which is ticketing more so, to call center overseer, to call center analytics. Then I went into like second floor of the building to be a data analyst, right? And that's where I was like, okay, I got rid of my waiter job because I'm doing good on this other job, but I still need to get rid of this other job, right? Um, so I basically looked up how to make money online. eBay showed up, but the problem with my eBay back then was that even though I was still working these 2, 3 jobs, I was not able to handle the customer support because people were asking questions, where I'm going to get my product, and obviously I can't be doing this sometimes at work. You know what I mean? So I couldn't do that. So what I did was basically Googled um, how to make money online without customers, right?
Without what?
And then without customers.
Oh yeah.
And then that's how I found affiliate marketing or blog marketing, lead generation. And the idea is to send traffic to somebody else's website and you make a commission and that's it. Your main focus is just to focus on traffic to that website. At that time, I was doing a lot of blog marketing, organic marketing, but then I also realized that time it was taking a lot of my time, and I wasn't really making that much. So maybe $50 there, $100 there. You know, I remember my first TJ check or ClickBank check was like, you know, $10. You know, it wasn't that exciting. And then once I got rid of my second job, um, I got into paid ads through Google Ads, through another affiliate network. They're not in business anymore, and that network actually helped jumpstart me into my affiliate career, where they told me, "Hey, bid on these keywords, um, bid on these keywords, and just throw up this link." And then pretty quickly, I was doing probably a couple $100 a day, and then I went to $1,000 a week to $1,000 a day on it. And then after about a month and a half, I was like, man, if I was able to do this in a short amount of time, I wonder if I can get rid of my last job, right? So that was my thought process into not wanting to become an entrepreneur. Even today, I don't even consider myself an entrepreneur. I just hustle, right? Because all I'm doing is just arbitrage clicks, right? And that's what I used to do back in the day with eBay. I would arbitrage, you know, products and just make a higher sale and make a difference, you know. So I think that's a big difference where I think people look to be an entrepreneur, right, versus trying to just figure out their path in life. And for me, it was just like, oh man, I just need to get rid of these jobs. And then I took a risk of, I think I had like 3 months or 2 months of savings before I was like, okay, I think I can do this. And then after about a month, I'm just like, if I was working like 24 hours a day, 20 hours, and then I was doing that now with my affiliate marketing back in the day, I actually replaced my year's salary in a month and a half after that, right? So it was pretty exciting, and that's when I'm like, okay, I can do this full time. So that's my journey, not seeking to be an entrepreneur or anything like that, just to have a better life or get rid of my job. So it's kind of the goal in my head.
So you were talking about you wanted to get rid of your jobs, and you've now gotten rid of your jobs. Do you
Correct.
consider what you do now as a job, or do you consider it as a business? Like, what is?
Well, affiliate marketing is, I wouldn't, there's an argument online about affiliate marketing, right? And it could be a business, you know what I mean? But um, it's just because all I'm doing is just brokering leads or brokering phone calls, and that's all I'm doing, or brokering sales. That's all I'm doing. So it can be a business if you look at if you build like a media team, a creative team, you know, all that for sure. But then you have you have the instability of this business where you'll do like, you know, $10 in 1 month, and then you'll not make any money for the next 2 months, right? Because it fluctuates so heavily based on like ad traffic sources, the algorithm, Facebook algorithms always changing, Google's algorithms are always changing. So what might work in January might not work 2 months down the road because of maybe algorithm changes or maybe the advertiser is lowering the payout, right? While CPCs and CPMs are going up, right? So these are the things that you have to manage, right? For me, I don't think it is that because I actually look forward to what I do every day. Like I have several other things that I do, right? I have my 2 softwares that I'm launching. I have digital products too. So to me, I wake up and it's just I look out the window. It's beautiful out. I do a couple hours here and there, and that's it. You know.
Can you tell me just a little bit? Tell me about the software that you launched, because you said you have two softwares that you launched as well.
Yeah, so I have 2 softwares now that I'm launching. One is creative ad management, and the other is email monetizer. Actually, in the past, I've actually sold 2 software companies in the past. Um, and these were tools that I need for my marketing, for what I need for my marketing. So my email marketing platform basically is AI email. You just click like 4 buttons. You write the emails, find the best email combination, and then sends out the best performing email, and hopefully it increases your ROI, right? Instead of like sending a one fixed email and sending it to your list, this system will automatically split the list into testing segments, test which offer is working, which frameworks are working, which personality is working, what attitude is working. And then after its initial test, it will send the best performing email and send it out to the rest of the list, hopefully getting higher ROI instead of just sending one blast email to everybody, right?
That's smart. That is really smart.
Yeah.
How do you, so when you're looking for people to that are going to use your software, where do you find them? Like, where do you find your market?
This is not launched yet, right? So this is meant for me internally, but my past software, which was a tracking tool, because back in the day, affiliate networks. I mean, there was so much money back in the years, right? Like you can throw up an ad and make $100 an hour. It was that easy to like make money, right? And there's a lot of people that were just very greedy, and what they would do is they would take your affiliate link, change a URL variable or a token, and then replace my affiliate ID with their affiliate ID, and they would get the commission, right? But the only reason why I noticed it because and other affiliates are high volume, they would notice a small 0.01% dip versus someone that's only running like $50 a day, $100 a day. They'll notice a dip that's pretty heavy, but to them it's like, oh, that must be a misdemeanor, you know what I mean? But for me, I would see like a small dip, like, and then I'm like, oh, that's strange. Why is it happening every day at this time? Blah 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 blah. Right. So I made the software to track this, which then eventually within a year and I think a year and a half or 2 years, I sold to a firm in Atlanta, and I actually moved to Atlanta for a year. Right. And then another software I had was a tracking platform, uh, where a tracking platform for affiliate marketing was in its infancy back in the day. There was probably only two back in the day, and then I eventually, after I think 1 year, sold the reporting code of that tracking platform to e-commerce platform, so or e-commerce CRM platform or merchant CRM, one of those. Right? So, and then the way I found those people were just basically through my community. I have a pretty big brand on the internet, so I just sent it out to my list or tweet it out, and that's pretty much how it went to get customers. You know what I mean? Obviously now I'll probably do some marketing for my stuff just because I don't put myself out there anymore, like as I used to back in the day. But I mean, it's probably still the same. I still know a lot of people in the space and all that, so it shouldn't be too hard.
So when you're building your email list, how do you, like, is that just from your community, or do you do outreach in order to build that, or how do you do that?
So email list for myself or like for
For your,
my
we'll
lead
start with
gen.
for yourself.
Yeah, so for myself, I don't really do too much of the email marketing. I have a small list for my stuff, but I know a lot of CEOs and they will blast it to their list, like affiliate networks and things of that nature. And even blog readers, they'll blast out to the list or people I've known in the space, and that's pretty much how it is. Or I'll just buy ads on newsletters, right? And that's what I did for my book launch. I bought some ads in several newsletters, and it did very well.
That's really interesting.
I'm not an organic marketer. I just buy ads. I'd rather buy ads. I'd rather waste money than waste time. You know.
No, and that makes perfect sense. It's so we have a lot of people that we talk to that are always, it's organic, organic. You want organic, and it's fun to hear the other side of the conversation where you want to trade your time for, you want to trade your money for time,
Yeah.
and
Organic
really
sucks.
build it that way.
So.
Yeah, I want to kind of jump in here though because Ian's got like a superpower in this space, and I've seen it with my own eyes. Where I've hired I don't know how many agencies to manage my ads, and it's very difficult to get an ROI on your ad spend. But Ian, not for Ian. He just jumps in there with a couple $100. He's got a campaign up and running, and I tried to turn that over to somebody else, and they came highly recommended, and they couldn't make it work. So Can you talk about some of the things that you're doing strategy wise? I know your strategy changes regularly, but like I know you do a lot of split testing and like you get super granular. Is that correct? Like when you split test things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But back in the day, for sure. Nowadays, it's very different. But I think the question becomes, what are the two types of media buyers, right? There are affiliates and there are media buyers, like people that graduate from college, people that are Google certified, Facebook certified, got Facebook training, right? I didn't get any of that, like a certificate training from Google or Facebook or Outbrain or TikTok or any of that, right? The difference between, I guess, me, affiliates versus like agency media buyers is agency media buyers actually look at the terms of service of Facebook and privacy policies, and they're very, very clean, right? So they don't know that they've never spent $1 million of their own money and lost $1 million of their own money, right? So what they're doing is they're just creating like more of a brand awareness more so versus maybe conversion based. Granted, there are media buyers out there that are good at conversion, right? But I think the difference between me, affiliates, and media buyers or agency media buyers is that we tend to just like knock at Facebook and Google and figure out at what point of knocking or opening the door of illegality do we get banned, right? Oh, if I'm using X amount of certain keywords on this landing page, um, how many keywords can I use versus can I not use? Like for example, on TikTok, there when I first started advertising TikTok, I was doing credit card debt or debt consolidation. One of the things I've noticed is that you're not allowed to say debt, finances, or things of that nature, right? So what I did basically, I just removed. Let's say I had like five debt keywords on that landing page. I would remove one and send it again, like four, four debt keywords on the landing page. Oh, I still got banned. I mean, like put three, right? Oh, I didn't get banned. Now I'm receiving traffic. The difference with me and the media agency buyers that they would just avoid the word debt or the keywords that their account rep said. Whereas, let me just put as much tension until they say no, and then work on what I can because
So
it's all
how did
about
you?
the
Sorry.
it's all about like just opening the door of terms of service and privacy enough that they do allow it, but not so much that you're not allowed to. Like if you open a door to a term of service privacy, you're gonna get banned. But if you have it cracked open, they don't mind the gusts of wind going through, right? Because it's not really there. So that's what affiliates do. We try to find that loophole, quote
Mm-hmm.
unquote. You know what I mean?
How did you figure out that it was the word debt that was getting you kicked off? Like, I mean, how many
Well,
words do you have to try? How do
yeah,
you
your
problem
account
solve
rep
that
would,
with words?
yeah, so your account rep would tell you like, oh, you can't have these keywords, right? So, and whenever you get a new account on TikTok, you get assigned a new rep anyway. So, all I did was like, oh, I can't just say these types of keywords. Let me see how many times I can repeat it on the landing page until I actually get banned, right? So, I
Ah,
mean, your account manager
okay.
will tell you what is wrong. You know what I mean? So it's up to you,
Interesting.
like
That's good.
affiliates, to try to sway around it, right?
Yeah, I like how you said you lost your own money because I think one of the most powerful things and motivating is when you're fully responsible for the outcome of it. Because as soon as it's like, well, it's my money, it's my time, it's my whatever, especially resources, I think we pay a lot more attention when you know it's a big enough amount that you're gonna feel it, you know.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I think it's really awesome that I mean, yeah, it motivated you in a way that you took such care where, like you said, other people just aren't that motivated. They're not that attached to the outcome. And, and there's a huge discrepancy between the performance.
Yeah, but also I think there are affiliates or people that are trying to get into affiliate marketing and they spend $100 here and there, right? I mean, even when I first started, I would spend $100 here and there for testing, and there are times where I lose hope because I mean, I went from making M's to going back down to zero, right? So there's these scenarios, and I've actually been depressed twice because of these scenarios, right? But it is more challenging because you are taking a risk on your
Yeah.
cash flow, but more so it's like, oh, I'm more taking a risk on myself, right? Whereas when people try to do this while they're working a job, even though they do have a skill set of buying media, there's a creativity part that never doesn't really pop up because media buyers or affiliates are super creative, right? Like you, like they'll make up an ad, right? And you're like, dude, that's like so left field, but it relates, right? So yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I think losing everything is almost like a badge of honor in the world of entrepreneurship. Like, I don't have any interest to partner with anyone who hasn't lost a business because they're reckless. It's almost like a high school student driving a car that's never gotten a ticket or been in a wreck. They think they're bulletproof, you know. And you can get
yeah,
lucky for a long time, but eventually you're gonna have to pay your dues.
exactly, exactly.
So, what mistakes do you see other people who are media buyers or like businesses who are making ads on, who are buying ads? What mistakes do you see them make the most?
I think they don't know how to use pixels. A lot of them don't know how to use pixels properly, right? They think that everything is one way, which used to be the thing back in the past, right? You throw up an ad, you give it a lander, and make conversion. Now everybody's advertising, CPCs are up, CPMs are up, and they just don't know how to grow a Facebook pixel or a Google pixel properly, right? So, for example, like the first instinct for somebody to set a pixel on the conversion page, right? Where you're like, oh, if I'm selling a product, I'll put the pixel on first impression when they land on the site, and then a conversion pixel on a confirmed order, right? But then you should throw your pixel throughout the page, right? Because you can fire pixels based on time, based on clicks, right? How long did it take them to click the button? How long did they stay on the initiate checkout? Did they? You can fire pixels based on while they're typing. You know, you can. There's so many things that you is that a lot of business don't do, right? And a lot of this information is important to Facebook, right? For example, in lead gen, if you do any type of rev share, right, you want to pass back the highest converting, right, offers to sometimes Facebook and then feed it maybe some low quality steps in between so it can target the higher level people, right? For example, maybe you want to segment homeowners versus non-homeowners, people with two cars versus one car, things like that. And then if you feed this information to Facebook, Facebook will just give you higher quality people, right? And I think there's that misconception of how to do a pixel properly. Um, and I think that's the biggest issue in my opinion. The secondary part would probably be angles, right? Angles and steps, right? I know for Brandon's product or service, we use the veterans angle on the side, and we did very well, right? Versus maybe just do you need something to be created or produced or something super generic, right? So there are other things that you can do. I mean, even for dating, dating is super generic. You want to find a partner, right? You can segment that down to like, hey, don't you want to find a fishing partner for this weekend, right? Target those specific audience. You know what I mean? Specifically, right? So there's so many ways to look at these things. A lot of people just look at things that very linear, right? Instead of more open, creative. I think, in my opinion, right? And that's again, it goes back to the type of mindset affiliate and versus media buyer is.
Yeah, what I'm hearing again, I just want to clarify this. What I'm hearing is there's a way in. You just have to be persistent enough and look at a bunch of different angles in order to find that way in.
Yeah, kind of, right? I mean, you can throw so much stuff at the wall and something's going to stick, but if you're not maintaining that stickiness of the dartboard, right? Because I know people that are only good at one traffic source and they can't expand out, right? Even though they have a skill set of marketing, they can't expand out of this one vertical like dating or one traffic source like maybe Facebook and move it over to native, right? That's the thing. Or people don't do a lot of testing is another issue. Like when we had our e-com site, we would change the women's eye color on our pages, and that increased sales by like one point or almost 2%. I think I was telling Brandon when I first met him, right, back in the day, right? So the difference of like an iColor on a landing page can make a huge difference in uplift.
Yeah, it just blows my mind how you can catch all these details. Like I watched you look at all this data and you just read it like a book. It's insane. And even like whenever you were looking at the way people move through the page, and you're like, oh, their mouse moved here. That means they were bored, or they spent their mouse moved this way. That means they want to see more of this. I'm like, what? Like I'm just sitting here like shocked at how you, and then you just make the changes and. If somebody's launching a product, I mean, clearly you're like got this gift, but if somebody's coming in and they're launching this product and they're like, I need to get traffic to it, where are like maybe two or three things they should really start with and work on to see if this is something that they can build traffic for, or if they should shift maybe a different direction?
Well, I mean, I would probably say model we did, Brandon, where it's basically collect leads, right, is the most important part of any traffic campaign, right? And give them an offer, right? Uh, like your offer was doing free consultation, right? And we were doing appointments, right? So I think that's super, super important to start and see if it's actually viable. Right? Do people actually want to do something with it? So I think the email list is the most important factor. Like send traffic to the email list.
You said the email is the most important part, just collecting the emails. Is that what you're saying? Or
Yeah,
in what way?
collecting emails. Yeah, correct, for sure. Collecting emails, so then you can always follow up with that consumer, that lead, based on your product or services. Right, that'd be the best way to really, really to start. I would never send people to your homepage. I would never send people to an about page. I would never send people to like your calendar. Right, the most important asset you have would be the lead because you can follow up later on. You can, hey, give them an ebook guide. You can, nurture that lead first and then get them into a schedule or make them purchase something. You know.
Right. So when you say, so even before you go to a landing page, are you collecting that email?
Well, the landing
Or
page would be so the landing page would have a mini survey, but at the end of the day, you're capturing the email, right?
so do you go through the email before you make the sale, or are you doing that simultaneously? Like as you're checking out, you're putting your email in, or how do you?
I would definitely do it before, right? So we have a digital product where uh, we help people find imagine their love, their love partner, right?
Okay.
Um, and what we do is we capture the email up front, and then we send them to a checkout journey, right? This way we know that they are one interested, two we can follow the flow of the where they left off on the funnel, and then three why did they start typing in checkout or if they did not or if they did check out, right? So I think once I have the email, I can then initiate a conversation based on where they were on the funnel, right?
Do you,
I'm go Brandon.
do you want to give us talk about your book that you released?
So yeah, my incomplete guide to affiliate marketing, right?
This guy right
It's
here.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's a pretty
I
hefty
need
book,
to get
right?
you to
What do you
sign
think?
one of these days. I gotta bring it next time we meet up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the book is pretty much a lot of my knowledge. So that book is based on a PDF I made back in the day, which I updated pretty much every year, um, and I added a couple more stuff into it, more so about mathematics. 'Cause I feel like a lot of marketers don't understand about mathematics and how to assume next steps, right? And then a lot of part in there is about creativity, angles, as well as copy, and then also colors in marketing. I think are a big thing. But I only made that book because I feel like I want to get out of the affiliate marketing space uh, and do something more into software. I'll be forever in marketing, right? But I also want to get out of it. But it's so easy to make money with affiliate marketing that I always tend to go back to it, right? And the book is more so about a lot of my past failures, why this didn't work, why this worked. Like you'll see a case study in there about like how I used like the color orange to work on a trend when there was a I forgot who was, oh, it was Manny Pacquiao and something else who was fighting. So I was using the color orange as a trend topic uh, on there for a marketing angle, right? And I did very well. You talk about I talk about a lot of things in there. So
Yeah, you told me
it's no small
before
thing about
you've
marketing.
done. I said before you've
What?
had conversations about you doing split testing with eye color in ads, like down to like the most nitty gritty details you can think of. Like,
Yeah, I mean those things change. Like again, when I was doing dating back in the day too, like I would change like the people's color from like American to native to black to Chinese, see which would be better, right? Even just increasing the eye sizes would help increase conversion because there's a instinctual connectivity to an ad by face looking, right? Naturally, right? So when people see bigger eyes and they actually feel connected to that ad, it's like, oh, I want to look at this. You know what I mean? So you increase the eye sizes works or like make having slimmer face. Um, colors I talk about in the book, like using blue a lot or maybe using red and orange, to get more attention. I mean, there's a lot, and it's called incomplete for a reason because it's like affiliate marketing is forever changing, and you actually have to do the work. So it's never complete until you actually do the work, right? So the reason why I titled it, and everybody's always asking me why I have negative connotation for my title of the book, which it fits perfectly because success is never completed. You know what I mean? So you actually do the work.
So if I just kind of want to just shift the conversation a bit. So if you've got an inventor, because a lot of our audience here is inventors and entrepreneurs. If we have an inventor and they're like, I want to start doing paid ads, at what point should they look at paid ads as an option?
Right away. Like even before MVP, right? So because you want to find interest, right? So for example, I would if I want to get into a space, I would make a fake checkout, right, and see if people are actually checking out, and that would give me a good viable interest. Like, oh, people actually want this, right? Let me go ahead and do that. So for an inventor, I would just create like a interest list, like a fake Kickstarter page, right, and see how many people actually opt in or go on the waiting list. And if they get at least like 100, right, or maybe even 1,000, I don't know how that market works, right, for interest, but I think after like 100, like, oh, okay, this is something viable that can continue to go on and probably make or produce, right? So I think it's always important to start right away because if you just because you have an idea, it doesn't mean it's good, right? So, and I think a lot of people get excited about their idea and like, oh, I would do this. I would definitely buy my own product. Like, you would definitely do it, right? You yourself would buy your product, but is it your friend, your aunt? You know what I mean? If you get to a point in your career where, like, we were doing so much volume with our ecom Nutra that my mom bought several products in my brand, and I didn't even know about it until I actually just opened up like the cover and like, why do you have my brand? Like that's where you know like you reach pinnacle of success, right?
it's
So
awesome, man. That's really cool.
So you would use it to even just to test the ability to sell that product.
yeah, correct, for sure. I mean, interests and actions play a huge role versus in doing the and like what people think and say, right? I mean, data is more important, right? Even though you experience, like, let's say there's like for example, in NutraSpace, um, multivitamins are super popular, right? But just because everybody's doing it doesn't mean you're going to be successful with it, right? So you should create a page. What is your angle? What's your differential? Like, what's your story? Put that through the email, put it through the lead collection, put it through fake checkout. If you get X amount, then it becomes viable, right? Just because it's a huge market doesn't mean you will be successful, right?
And so I just really like that. Like the idea of testing something right away before you're even launching into the marketplace, that would have probably saved me on probably four of my businesses
There you
to being
go.
successful on that. If I would have even thought about how to do that properly. So if you were to do that, you said you would not. Now I'm just kind of grabbing as much information as I can here. So forgive me if I stay on this for a little longer. So what you would do is you'd create like a fake Kickstarter page, and then see how many people goes to checkout, or like what at what point do you sit there and go, "Hey guys, this was just a test."
Oh no, you would never say that, right? You just say like, hey, if you think it's gonna fail, let's say you only had like 50 leads, right? Like what you do on the back end is be like, hey guys, our manufacturing is shutting us down, blah blah blah. We can't produce, but we're closing down. But if you want, join my newsletter, blah 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 blah, whatever, right? So you pivot, right? Because you have data. Like it's like you don't want to get rid of that data. So that what you would do
Yep.
is like, hey, I put him on, join my newsletter or whatnot, right? It's just a white lie. They don't need to know that this was a test. They say, hey, like, manufacturer shutting down, blah, 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 or we can't get enough funding, X amount, whatever, whatever. And that's it. But they're already attached to you, right, through that story, through the idea. Maybe you give them pointers and turn into a digital product, maybe an ebook or something down the line, right? That's what you can do, right? I would never tell them, like, hey, it's a test, right?
Yeah. The other thing that I've seen people do, we probably all landed on this page before, is like, hey, we're back ordered. Leave your email and we'll send you a message when we get more in stock. And then
Yeah,
you've already
exactly.
collected their information and they're expecting to hear from you about buying their product. So then when you do finally have inventory, you just go back to those people. And you also have a list. So if you need investors, you say, hey, I've got a list of 6,000 people that want to buy this product already. They've already given me their email. Here's our campaign that we're using, and here's how it's working. And then if you can do that, you can generate you can get investors' interest very quickly and raise the funds. I mean, you still gotta know where to look, but when you show them that, they'll jump at that.
But yeah, 100%. I agree. Yeah.
So when you do a campaign like that, how much money do you pour into the campaign to figure out whether it's going to work or not?
You probably have to work a little backwards on mathematics, right? So, I mean, if your product is $100, right, and you want 30%, like average ROI after ad spend, you probably have to spend maybe $1,300, 2K, right, minimum, right, would be my assumption, right? So, and that's just thinking quickly out loud, right? So, like, if you have a $10 product,
I'm gonna challenge
yeah.
you on that. So I know for you, you can do it with like a bare bones model, but do you think that and I don't know the answer here, but I'm curious, like if you're thinking back to when you first started this or when you were learning this or when you see other people learning this, can they really, I mean, do you see people able to launch these campaigns that lean? Because I have not had this same success.
Oh, that lean at $2,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can, right? The problem is that if you're just throwing money at ads and you don't know what the problem is, you come to
Hmm.
question, right? Just
Right.
because you're throwing money and you're like, oh, I haven't gotten conversion, but did you figure out, is it your funnel, is it your copy, is it your angle, is it the creative, right? Just because you're throwing ads, right, or making generating ads doesn't mean you're doing a good job at it, right? For
Right.
example, like if you're getting like a CTR, let's say like 0.05, and you don't know like, oh, is it my ad that's making this low? Why am I spending so much, right? And people don't understand the logic between how Facebook and Google make money off CPCs or CPMs. That's another issue, right? So I think there's that uneducated experience where, like, even for me when I first started, I'm throwing like probably $50, a week and trying to figure out like, why am I getting this? Why am I doing that? Why is this happening? Right? If you're not asking why, right, then there's something wrong with your process, right? The way I look at ads is like, oh, I have 100 clicks. Why didn't 100 people convert? Right? So that becomes a game to my head, right? Because you were interested enough to click on the ad. Why didn't you follow through? right? So is it my messaging? Is it something wrong with my checkout? Is it a technical issue? Like there's a lot of stuff, right, to think about all this, right? But if you don't have that knowledge of asking yourself, then you're just losing money, you know.
What are you looking for as far as hints go? Like you're saying, well, why are they not buying? But what data are you reviewing to get that to make those conclusions or those guesses?
So I mean, like for example, if my CTR is below average, right, or maybe my CPMs increase, then there's definitely something wrong with my creative ad, right? If they stay on the page like less than 30 seconds, and something wrong with the angle or storyline or copy, right? If they're clicking on the form and nothing's being submitted, then technical issue, right? If they're stopping after the forum, right? Then is it issue on submission? Is it the after story? Is it the follow up? Right? There's a lot of signals they'll pretty much tell you,
So,
but you have
so,
to
you,
know that.
so you're using both the analytics from Google and you're watching how they actually move through the pages. Is that correct? And
Yeah,
you're putting
correct.
the
Yeah,
two
yeah.
together to make the best image possible. Is there any other resources besides those two that you're taking into account? Like, I mean, I don't even know what it would be, but is there another like a pixel that's giving you additional feedback or anything else?
Yeah, so on my side for affiliate marketing, right, there's a conversion point, right? And conversion points happen usually on a lead submit or a phone call completion, right? But if you can talk to the advertiser and get their disposition report, you can get a breakdown of that report and say like, oh, this lead I provided to you, 10 out of 25 are actually homeowners, right? I want to keep that, I want to take that data and then feed it to Facebook, right? Then I can be like, oh, now I need to angle maybe my ad to cater to only homeowners, specifically homeowners, because I only want to target those people, right? Like, more data you have, the better, right? Like, you can put somebody's phone number in on a website and figure out what they're doing and, like, figure out what their demos are, and if they have homes or if they have multiple cars, what their salary is, etc. Right, and that information is useful.
I'm curious. How do you think about pricing affecting buying behavior? Is it easier to sell bigger ticket items? Is it easier to sell smaller ticket items? Do you see sometimes raising the price helps or dropping the price helps, or does it even matter that much?
So I don't think it really matters, right? Because I know I don't do high tickets, right? I'm usually into like the commissions per conversions are like in the $5 to $100 range, right? Um, but the higher the payout, usually the more difficult is conversion. Like for example, law firms will pay like
Mm-hmm.
$100 to $250 per lead, right? But they require a lot of pre-qualifiers, uh, like for a debt consolidation, they only need like four questions, four pre-qualifiers, whereas law firm probably needs like 10 to 15 to 20, right? And that long survey, obviously there's going to be a drop off with your lead, and you're not going to convert, right? That's why it's a higher payout. But they're also closing. The law firms are also making a huge commission when they go to court, right? And win the court, right? So they also have to play that role. You know what I mean? So there's a CPA on both my side and the advertiser side, right? And we have to figure out where to meet in the middle. As for pricing, I don't think there's really an issue, right? It's all about the value the product gives. Like we were selling like $67 multivitamins, right? And multivitamins you can buy for like $20, right? But our story and an angle and why ours was better is the reason why people bought, right? So it doesn't matter on pricing. It's how you're coming up with the marketing for it, right? That supports this claim of $67 versus a $15 multivitamin, right?
Yeah, I think you are the guy that can sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's all about like how you come up with angles. Like I mean, you can have like oh, like our weight loss pills back in the day, we would use story angles like uh, did you realize these 5 signals from your husband lately? Oh, these are signals that you're about to get divorced, right? The reason why you're about to get divorced is not because you're fat, it's because of this, right? But you need this pill to help you lose weight later on, to help you give you positivity, energy, blah, 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 whatever, right? So I'm using a segment of a vertical, of an angle, right, of a personal story to convince somebody to do something they don't want to do, which is purchase my product, right? So,
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, the way you get to that story is so fascinating to me. I mean, I'm much more direct to the point. I mean, I definitely try to think outside the box, but that's crazy. I've heard that story before. Do you want to talk about your fit or maybe most interesting product you've ever sold?
I don't have
Is there any
a,
that like come to mind that you thought wouldn't sell and they did, or um,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, most of my stuff were like in Nutra. We did some e-commerce and drop shipping, digital products. Like we have a product now for manifestation and digital space, right? And it's doing okay. I'm not even concentrating on it that much, since I'm more into like phone calls and leads right now. But yeah, I don't know. I can pretty much
well,
tell.
let's flip that
Hey,
around. What products have done the best or are the most interesting?
for me,
Yeah, for you, like what industries or what types of products do you think are the easiest to sell?
um, so for me, my biggest was in the Nutri space, more of the skin cream, anti-aging niche or vertical. Uh, I mean, we had people wanting to renew their subscriptions, like, and it was crazy. I mean, it was an amazing couple of years in that space. But we also grew a team, which I don't like having a team. It's just very annoying. A lot of drama in the office. People gossiping about each other, and like everybody having sex with each other. I'm like, dude, I don't care. Just make your money, right? So yeah. And I'm like, that's why I go back to being an affiliate, because I don't have to deal with that stuff. Right. So,
Yeah,
but I don't know. Product wise, I mean, they're all, to me, they're all the same. Definitely Nutra is the biggest one that I've been into for sure. Um, which is diet, weight loss, skin cream, skincare, things of that nature.
yeah, huh?
So I have we're kind of coming to the end of our time here. But what I've got is what I like to do is I man I can't even talk today. This is terrible. What I like to do is I like to do what I call a lightning round. So I'm going to ask you 3 or 4 questions, and we're just going to try and get like quick answers and see where it goes. Okay. So the first one is, what is the most overrated tactic that you see in marketing at the moment?
In marketing, brand awareness, I think that's bullshit, right? For influence marketing, I think that's. I mean, I can create a brand today and sell the product within 24 hours. Like I think that's waste of time and money, in my opinion, right?
Huh. I would never have guessed that, but that's a thank you. Um, if you had to launch a $100 physical product, what, and obviously I think I know what the answer would. What would you do first?
$100, I'd probably throw up an ad to see if it works. Right? That's what I would do.
Honestly, that was the most predictable. I wrote these questions like really before this conversation, and I sit there and go, okay, I get where that one was going. I tried to shift it at the end, but no. What is one mistake you'll never make again?
Oh man, there's so many. Um, I think one mistake is being too overconfident in my skill, right? So a good example of this is that I was so good at media buying when I first started a supplement brand that I totally forgot about ordering more products, right? Because I'm like I was just so focused on like making sales online and buying media that I totally forgot about the other aspects of the business, right? Which is fulfillment, customer care, and things of that nature. So pretty much being overconfident and ignoring anything else, right? Would be the biggest mistake I think for me it would be.
I think it's funny hearing you say that because so I used to be in the film and entertainment industry, and I have a lot of friends that made films, but what they forgot about is that they have to sell the film in the end. So they would be so artistic and make all of these fantastic films, and all of them would lose tons and tons of money because didn't have a marketing budget at the end. They focused so much on what they were good at that they forgot that there's a whole business attached to it.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was really sure.
that's definitely the biggest mistake I see people make is they get so focused on developing whatever they're developing, they forget they have to build a business to make money with it. That's kind of the whole inspiration for this channel too.
But
I'm gonna go into kind of where we're like where people can connect with you. But before we do that, are there any last thoughts that you would want people, entrepreneurs, to know that they're like, this is where you need to, what you need to do?
don't be an entrepreneur. Just hustle. I don't know. It's a weird saying because I myself don't consider myself an entrepreneur as well. I'm just an arbitrager, right? So I think the mindset plays a huge role versus wanting to be versus actuality, right? I think people just get too close minded to I want to be an entrepreneur, blah blah blah, and then they work and then nothing happens, and then they're like, it is what it is. Well, I think you have to be in a tough situation first before actually wanting to be something. You know what I mean? Like nobody just becomes not like a restauranter unless they're like really good at cooking and perfect their skills and had some knife cuts and burns. You know what I mean? So I think for sure that would be it.
I think you're an entrepreneur. I think an entrepreneur is someone that creates and problem solves. You know, like you've definitely innovated in that space a lot, and that from that angle, I would definitely call. And you know, um, I love though how you say that you just want to hustle. Like it's not about being fancy. It's not about anything. Just get out there, start, learn, improve, test, revise. Right? Like I think that's what makes you great. And so many people miss that. They're like, oh, I want to start off as like a D1 athlete, and it's like, no, you got to work your way up.
Yeah, but you also have to realize that hey, uh, I suck at basketball, but I'm pretty good at sprinting. Maybe I need to be a fucking sprinter, right?
Yeah,
So I think
yeah,
that's that realization, right?
yeah.
So, but yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was listening to an interview that you did. I don't know when you did it, but you were talking about being an entrepreneur, and you said that an entrepreneur is someone who wants to change something, make life better, and that you're like, that's just not who I am. I'm just a hustler. And
Yeah,
I thought that was a great definition of what an entrepreneur is versus someone who just wants to hustle.
yeah, exactly. I think that's where I look at myself for sure. Yeah, I think an entrepreneur is changing the world, changing some sort of um, shift in people's lives, right? I'm just I'm just a fucking broker. You know, so that's all I am. You know what I mean?
I love that. I love that. Well, I just want to kind of thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for giving us your insights. I feel like I just want to talk to you for another half hour, just kind of digging into some areas that I can't really stay on for too long in an interview. But where can people get into contact with you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, ianfernando.com for sure where you'll find everything, or my social stuff are ianfernando.com/social. Everything's there. Make it pretty much simple for everybody. And obviously, get the book if you want to get interested in affiliate marketing. Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? And Brandon, thank you for getting the book. Okay.
Of course, of course.
Yeah. So, oh, I didn't finish the story how I met Brandon actually. You know,
Do you know what?
it
It's a
just
great way to come full circle. Come back around with full
it,
circle.
it,
Finish
it,
it
it,
up.
it just hit my head. I remember like after the the meetup, we met up with some other entrepreneurs or marketers or whatever, and everybody like I think we were arguing about the dumbest stuff people were talking about. I'm like, man,
Yeah,
this motherfucker
yeah.
didn't even
It was
know how
like
to.
after the event, we were
You're
going
like,
to
this
get some
idiot
beers.
mail this stamp or mail something, and then Brandon's like, oh, that's me. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, man,
Yeah,
because I was
I had
making fun of him at the table, and I didn't even realize he was there. That's
yeah.
how we met.
It was pretty funny. I had a contract with Boeing and I lost it because I sent them the wrong address. I just yeah, and it was like a six figure. It was at the time I was starting out, and it was a 6 figure contract that I lost. And yeah, But it was funny because I was sharing the story, and he goes, "Yeah," and yeah, just like you were saying, we were sitting down drinking beers together, and he was like, "Yeah, this guy."
Fucking newbie. Yeah.
So that's a story I haven't heard yet, and I've been working with Brandon for almost a year now, maybe a year and a half actually at this point. So I might have to drag that out at Brandon a little later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. When you guys get beers, I guess I'll probably end up getting a beer in a little bit myself. So I just
You
gotta
in
look at
Sao
my
Paulo right
ads in a
now?
bit. What happened?
You still in South Paulo?
Yeah, I'm out here. I live out here now, bro. Like
Yeah, I
I
know.
think
But you
this is my
travel,
home.
you're all over the place. Normally, you got
Yeah.
like some amazing backdrop and some fancy office overlooking the city or something. So,
Well, I was at the beach town last week, so cause it's fairly cold here right now, right? It's like well, right now it's probably like 20 degrees actually right now. Not too bad, but yesterday was like
degrees
13.
Celsius.
Yeah, Celsius. Yeah.
The temperature that the rest of the world runs off of.
So right now it's probably like 60, 62, right? I think, right? So, but then 2 nights ago it was like 50. No, it would be like 57, and that's cold here, right? So,
All right, well, Ian, I'm just gonna stop recording because we're basically in after talk now, and so I might just like shut it down halfway through that.
sounds good.